Shanks debuted throughout the Halloween celebration on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global on the 6th of February 2021. Continuing on the theme of the previous batch with Trafalgar Law and Dracula Mihawk, the redhead pirates suit up for a Halloween Sugo-Fest batch where Shanks could be pulled guaranteed after 15 multi-pulls. The characters included in this batch are Yasop, Sharpshooter in the Night, Happy Spooky Halloween, Beckman, Evening Respite, Happy Spooky Halloween. And the Sugo-Fest exclusive character of the batch brought along a captain effect and special that provided zero utility and only focused on providing raw damage, to which wasn't even that great in the first place. Introducing Shanks, Moon Knight King, Happy Spooky Halloween. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older Sugo-Fest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. So thank you very much for checking out yet another episode of the Legends of OPTC, and in today's video we're taking a look at an extension of last week's episode where we had Halloween Law, Halloween Mihawk, and the Kizuna Clash that came out throughout that month was also Halloween related. The treasure map was also related to Halloween as well, but there were no Sugo-Fest exclusives during the treasure map. However, for the Kizuna Clash, they dropped a brand new Shanks batch. Alongside him, there were 2 additional rare recruits of Ben Beckman, there was Yasop as well, and of course the free-to-play Kizuna Clash character being Eustace Kid, which was actually a character that had seen a ton of play when he released, just to allow for like speed farming shenanigans, which was still useful up until this point. So let's go through these rare recruits first, and then we'll go over to Shanks, because while Shanks isn't the most exciting character ever, I fully admit the character isn't that great, the rare recruits are actually pretty good and actually have seen a ton of play in other content. So here we have Yasop being Int, Shooter, Cerebral. Captain ability obviously doesn't really matter too much. Crewmate abilities though are interesting, being able to resist 2 turns of special reverse and 5 turns of special bind, whilst also having a special that gives cooldown reduction, bind and despair removal, and increased defense removal. So has a lot of good things going for him. So great crewmate abilities to enable his special to be ready when it needs to be, being able to give cooldown, good utility for bind, despair, and defense up. Like, this character is just overall extremely solid. Also, support effect to Shanks, Ben Beckman, Lucky Roo. When you use the special, reduce bind despair by 2 turns. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, this guy is very, very good. So when he dropped, a lot of people wanted this guy mainly because that support was strong. Of course, this character isn't able to be used as a support on like the dual unit Shanks crew, because obviously Yasop is a part of that character, so that brings down like the usefulness a little bit, because there aren't going to be 2 other high level Shanks units that you can actually use it on at the time. But still, pretty good character overall. And then we have Ben Beckman. Ben Beckman also being an Int Cerebral unit, but he is a striker. It still is crazy that Beckman is a striker unit as he holds a pistol, because he strikes people with his pistol, which is weird. Anyways, for this guy, crewmate ability gives some stats. He also says that if you have a striker or cerebral captain, psi slots are beneficial to all characters, which is nice considering the whole batch is Int, making those slots beneficial. And then his special ability reduces barrier duration by 1 turn, reduces chain multiply limit and chain coefficient reduction by 5 turns. So he removes chain locks and chain reductions, and then also gives a 2x all boost. So this character wasn't like as crazy, because like 1 turn of barrier removal is like fine, it's kind of whatever. The orb boost is also kind of fine, and then removing the chain debuffs a lot of the time didn't really matter. If you have a chain reduction, chain locks and chain boundaries get around that, and then yeah, like if the enemy gives you a bad chain lock, you can technically enter a stage with a chain lock already to kind of get around it. So even though he gives some kind of utility, it's just the utility that he provides isn't as useful as what Yasop is doing. And then the support effect is attaching to the same sort of units, and when you use the special ability, or when the enemy inflicts you, with chain down and chain lock, remove it by 3 turns. This is actually pretty good, because not having to worry about using a special to get around certain chain debuffs is kind of nice. Very similar type of ability of like Legend Cracker. He has pretty much the exact same support effect as this Ben Beckman, which is pretty cool. So those are the 2 rare recruits of the batch. And then we get to Shanks, which artwork-wise, aesthetically looks amazing. I absolutely love the artwork here, and I love the outfit of Shanks. He just looks so badass, but it's such a shame because the unit himself, not the greatest. He is an int cerebral slasher. His captain ability would boost the attack of int characters by 4 to 5 times based on the timing of the attack of the previous unit in the chain. So essentially you want to consistently hit your perfects, very similar to Law and Mihawk with their captain abilities. He also still gives 3.75 times attack to all other characters, 1.3 times HP, recovers 0.5 times this character's recovery at the end of the turn for every perfect that you achieve. So again, like, not any utility here, really no utility. So when you're comparing this to the Mihawk and the Law that came out right before him, there's literally no reason to use him. He does have a super special though, where you need a Luffy, Mihawk, Ben Beckman, Yasop, or Lucky Roo in order to trigger it. So of course you want to use like the new Mihawk that just came out. He changes block, recovery, tandem bomb, empty into matching, and reduce the defense of all enemies by 100% for 3 turns, and int into super int. Of course, the defense reduction doesn't go through full immunity. There weren't really many characters up until this point that had defense down through immunity, so there's that. And the orb change that he provides, well, it was okay. It wasn't like the craziest orb change ever, but it's pretty decent. And then we move on to his other effects. His sailor ability does make int slots beneficial, which is kind of nice. And then this special, which boosts color affinity of Slasher and Cerebro by 2x for 3 turns, which is like not the craziest color affinity ever. And then if you have 4 more int characters when you launch the special, you get a 1.0 chain addition, also for 3 turns. So the special has no utility, the captain has no utility, the super special also pretty much has no utility, and then he's basically just color affinity and chain boost. So he doesn't really do a whole lot. Like, Shanks is a very boring, mundane unit. He's just kind of there. You could replace him with almost any other int captain, and you can get more out of him. So this is a unit that doesn't also have a super evolution yet. This guy definitely needs one, and a very good level limit break, because as it stands right now, this character is pretty bad. The caveat to his release is that his banner was very good when it came out. I believe it was like, I think it was like 15 multis to get him guaranteed. It might have been even less than that. Like, you didn't have to do many multis to get him guaranteed. It was basically a way for them to bait people into pulling right before Global's anniversary. So ultimately, a character that didn't really provide too much. And his support effect also hasn't really seen that much play, attaching to Luffy, Mihawk, or any of his crewmates. Once per adventure, if the enemy randomizes your orbs or changes your orbs, then it will go ahead and change Slasher and Cerebral characters slots into int. So, like, you specifically have to make use of the fact that you're getting int slots, and it has to attach these units, and it only is for Slasher and Cerebral. If this was for the whole team, this probably would see a bit more play, especially with, like, the 10th anniversary Luffy, the int Super Sugo-Fest one, probably could actually use that type of ability, but as it stands right now, not really that great. So yeah, here we have Shanks. We're gonna go ahead and try and use him in some content today, and hopefully we can at least showcase something, because there's not really a lot to like about this character. So we're in game now with my man Halloween Shanks. Now, this particular part of the video has been recorded maybe like 1 to 2 weeks after the last part of the video that you just watched. I actually had already recorded this part, but I accidentally deleted the footage, and then I never got around to recording this again. So essentially, this is my second go-round at recording this particular clip with Shanks. So hopefully this time I can remember not to delete the clip. Either way, this is the squad that we have here. We're going to be using the hybrid setup with Halloween Mihawk as our friend captain, as he will fulfill the condition for the super type, which does help quite nice, and they both help each other fulfill the conditions for their super types, which is pretty cool. But as we kind of touched upon, like, Shanks doesn't really do that much. He's a very, very bland legend. He doesn't really do a whole lot. He's more focused on, you know, let's go ahead and do some damage, but he only really does a ton of damage when you're only up against Psi-type enemies. Well, luckily for us, that's exactly what we're up against in this content, but it's just more of the fact that they didn't really add much to his kit, especially when you're comparing to the Law or the Mihawk that dropped alongside him. Like, he just got kind of shafted. There's really not a lot to love about this character, which is a bit of a shame. He really did deserve a whole lot more than what he got. It just seems like a lot of the Shanks legends do get kind of shafted in a lot of scenarios in Treasure Cruise, which is just kind of funny. But anyways, this is where we're going to use a switch ability here of Nami and Robin. Very, very cool character, Nami and Robin, being able to abuse their switch abilities to get certain abilities to activate. The fact that we can use their switch ability to generate empty slots, we're going to use to our advantage a little bit deeper into this content here. Okay, so stage 2, we're going to have Van Augur. Obviously, this guy kind of sucks, but we're just going to go ahead and stall a couple turns. There's really not a lot that we can do here. Obviously, you could put like a support or something to remove the bind, but not really necessary. So we're just going to take a couple turns here just to wait, get rid of the bind, and then we can go ahead and kill, because we can remove the attack down. That's not really a big issue here. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and use the switch ability here of Nami and Robin to just make sure that we can generate some slots. Let's go ahead and use the Baccarat special ability. We've talked about Baccarat a little bit in a couple of these videos because she's just a really good rare recruit when she came out, being able to remove a bunch of different debuffs and also generating a matching slot with this 1.75 times slot effect boost. Like a really powerful rare recruit on release, just really, really good. Let's go ahead and hit our perfects here. And then kill. Because remember, with the way that Shanks and Mihawk work, you want to consecutively hit these perfects to get the damage being maintained. If you miss your perfects, the damage that these characters do with their captain ability scales down actually quite a lot, which is obviously not what we want to do. Okay, so here we have the Lafitte stage, and this stage does have like a lot of really annoying gimmicks, but around the time period of this arena's release, they gave us this free-to-play character, Vasco Shot. And this character by himself deals with all of the debuffs on this stage completely, being able to remove the damage threshold, it removes the special bind, it removes the despair. He also gives us some damage reduction as well, because why not? Let's go ahead and use the switch ability of Robin to just get rid of all those badly matching slots. We can then go ahead and use Doflamingo. So this is actually the Neo Doflamingo. If you guys are relatively new to the game, you probably don't know what this is, but there are like the Clash characters that you can farm, and what they did back in the day is that they would re-release the Clash characters with different colors and potentially slightly different specials. With this Doflamingo right here, they essentially kept the same character just with a different typing, and when you would farm the Neo versions of these raids, you had to basically run against them with like a mono powerhouse team or mono striker team, whatever it is. So it was kind of interesting. It is weird that they don't do that kind of stuff anymore, because it was just interesting, new ways to play. Unfortunately, they don't do that anymore. They really should, honestly. Like, building teams against certain content with certain types or classes, I think is just really, really interesting. Okay. Finally, let's go ahead and use the super type of Mihawk. So this is going to generate a full board of matching slots for us, and we can obviously use that to our advantage because we just activated Doflamingo special, which gives us an orb boost. And remember that Mihawk adds tap timing bonus damage to himself. So Mihawk is going to be doing a ton of damage. So ideal scenario is that we tap on Mihawk on Lafitte, because we are target locked on Lafitte right here. So we have to go ahead and target him. So maybe we'll hit... I think we'll go Vasco Shot into Robin into Mihawk. We'll do the entire left side on Lafitte, and then we'll go from bottom up on the right hand side, hopefully clear it. Alright, let's see how we go. Oh my god, we missed. Well, we have one of these enemies remaining. I don't think it's going to be a big issue. We missed out perfect. Oh my god, there was too much stress. There was too much stress in that situation here. I don't think that anything bad happens. He is going to perform something. Oh, he blows away our captain for 2 turns. Actually, that's not going to be a problem. Luckily, it is only for 2 turns. So let's go ahead and just kill here. That's fine. 1 turn is gone, and then we have to stall 1 turn on the final stage anyway because he special reverses us. So actually, this is going to work out okay. It's going to work out fine. So this guy's pretty annoying. When he first came out, he was actually a little bit tricky because this was one of the highest HPs that we had ever seen on an enemy when it first dropped. I think he has 120 million HP, which of course in today's standards isn't really that much, but back when this first came out, it was kind of crazy, right? So let's go ahead and switch into Nami. Let's just pass, and then we're going to use the switch effect next turn to guarantee us a full board of empty slots. So by using the switch ability, we have a full board of empty. We can activate the special ability of Nami and Robin, which gives us that, I think it's a 2.5 times orb boost to Dex and Int characters. And we'll see how that goes. This should give us a pretty good amount of damage. And then in terms of the rest of the characters on this team, we have Mihawk for an attack boost. We have Shanks for color affinity, and we're going to use Shanks right here. So remember, with Shanks' special ability, it's going to give us a color affinity boost to Slasher and Cerebral, and if we have 4 or more Int characters, that's when we get the 1.0 chain boost. And here is the special animation of Halloween Shanks, which does look okay. It's pretty cool. But unfortunately, Shanks gets shafted a lot in One Piece Treasure Cruise, so unfortunately it's nothing too crazy. So color affinity, and we get the chain boost. Now I can use his super special here, which will go ahead and change the empty slots that we received from the switch effect of Nami and Robin, changing them into matching. And then finally we can go ahead and use the special of Mihawk, and importantly, not only does it give us a very good attack boost, but it also removes 10 turns of damage reduction on the enemy side of the field. So now the enemy's defensive effects have been lowered, and we are good to go. Remember though that the color affinity boost from Shanks only targets Slasher characters and Cerebral. So in this squad, only Vasco Shot doesn't receive the color affinity boost, so we're definitely going to start with him. And let's see how we do. Let's see how much damage we can do against San Juan Wolf. And we final tapped with Shanks as well. There you go, 165 million damage, which back when he first came out, if your team could do 165 million on a burst turn, that's actually impressive. That's really, really good. So shout out to Shanks, but of course he's only really good in that one specific scenario if you don't have to deal with many gimmicks and you are specifically going against a Psy boss. That is when Shanks is like the best unit to use. That's the best situation to use him in, but that kind of situation doesn't really come up that often, unfortunately. So that is pretty much it, guys. That's going to wrap it up for me for Halloween Shanks. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you enjoyed it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.